So here we are in Talespire now. I'm just going to generate a new campaign. I'll give it a night's game. Okay. And that's where I'm going to leave it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jump up here into Tales Tavern. I'm going to go over here to my useful links. Now I've decided that I'm going to generate a dungeon tonight. So Tales Tavern, for those who don't know, is a great place where slabs and boards are loaded up. I've got a lot of great gear up there, so go check it out. It's thousands and thousands and thousands of boards and props there, so do it. Now down here under Talespire Tools, there is a section here called Dungeon Layout Generator. I'm just going to open that one up. And I'm brought to this page here. Now this page here will actually do the generation for me, but I'm going to need to have a file in which I can generate using. So one page dungeon generator is a link that's on this page, so that'll take you to this generator. Now from here we can simply refresh the page. It will randomly generate a dungeon for us. I believe there are means to go through and select one that you may like. I find I just refresh this page a couple of times, generates a handful of dungeons that we can use and take it from there. So that there looks interesting enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to select save as JSON. So now that's saved the file down the bottom here for me. I'm going to go back here to my import dungeon. From here I'm going to determine the scale, which is going to be the width in between the walls for corridors is probably the best way to determine to define that. So generally speaking, I like to have 3, given that it's plenty of room to have something happen in a corridor if you still want to do an encounter in the corridor. Anything less than that, you start to offset your doors from being center and that kind of stuff. It depends how pedantic you want to be about it. 3 works well for me. So then I'm going to hit the convert button. Oh, sorry, wrong. I'm going to select a file first. I need to choose my file. I'll go here to my download sections and we can see here that my Zombie Emporium file is there, which is the download file from before. I will now hit convert. Now what that does is it says down here slab copied to clipboard. So now that's residing in my clipboard. I'll open up my campaign. Now as you saw, we've just started this afresh. There's nothing here already. It's taking a moment to load. All right. So that brings us up to this area. A quick scan around just to show there's nothing here. Now I'm going to press Control V, paste. And this dungeon is now on my clipboard. Okay. I like to press F2 to make sure my board's centered, which means my build will be centered as well. And that's what we have. Now I'm going to undo that very quickly because I want to show you, my recommendation is lift it up off the base plane. You can always build up, but you won't be able to build down if you put it on the base plane. You lift it up a layer or two, it gives you that room to build up and down, which is going to be the next thing we're going to do. So I want to try to create a little bit of depth in the dungeon, and I'm thinking between this corridor here, I'd like to have these be stairs that descend down both, and then I'll lower this area here as a final boss part, or raise it up either way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down my X key, and that gives me my cursor to select. Okay, I'm then going to click and drag all the way over, and if I go too far over, I'll start selecting those tiles up here. So I don't want to do that. I'm just going to work at selecting the corridor sections for this time being. Okay, and I'm going to press Control X to cut that slab. That will make it disappear. It's in my clip pad, and it's taken away from the parts that are there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my dungeon, because that's the pieces that it's used to generate this. I'm going to select staircases. Holding my Control key, I can adjust the elevation. And middle mouse will help me quick rotate. Handy tips to have. And then I'm just going to insert my stairwell there. and there. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it descend 3 steps. Okay. Holding control just to adjust the elevation. Right, so now my dungeon staircases are there. I can actually go Control V to bring my clipboard back into place, and then I line the dungeon walls up so that they were in the position that they started in. Might be easier to see it from this side. Spacebar will open and close your build menu. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower it down, and you'll start to see the staircases appearing. Right, so I wait until the staircase is lined up with the floor and starts to disappear, and then I'm going to hit click, and that has just lined up my dungeon stairwell. Now, of course, I can assist the process a little bit by, we'll go back into our dungeon walls. We're going to add some walls in there. I haven't used those pieces because they've got the floor connected to them, and that will stick through my staircase. But I can come along here. Tapping Shift will allow me to clip. I can add a couple of wall pieces just there to block in my stairs. Okay. And you can see there I've just created some elevation. Elevation is probably the most interesting thing about Talespire. But now we've got to fix this problem up here over here. So we're going to do exactly the same thing as we did before. We're going to hold down our X key. We're going to move to the corner here, and we're going to slide it around, pick up the entire block, adjust my sliders, make sure I get it all in there. Sometimes you've got some problems underneath. There's a orange slider underneath. You can lower it down. Sometimes you don't quite grab all the floor. Again, I'm going to press Control X because I don't want it left there after I'm done. I'm picking it up and moving it away. Then I line up these walls and I click. And now I have my dungeon layout. All right. Let's drop our fog modifier, like so. And now I can ascend, descend, create crossovers, you name it. I can do it at this stage now that this dungeon's been generated very quickly. Now, that's taken me about 8 minutes from start of stream till now. So you can very quickly, rapidly generate dungeons and have them all linked together. The interesting thing now is to quickly dress up this for the scene that you're looking for. So we want to add some, I'm going to add something reasonably large in this room. I'm thinking that what I might do, here we go. I'm going to count 3 in from the corner, hold my X key, count 1, 2, 3 in from the corner. Same again over here, 1, 2, 3 in from the corner. That puts it about there. Lower it down, pick it up. Okay. So that's going to exactly the same process we did before. I'm going to go lower it down 1, 2, 3, 4. Why not? Let's have that. I'm going to have a bit of a sunken pit in the middle of the room. Always good to break up a big room somehow with something interesting. And I might see what. Let's grab some dungeon walls. So I've got my creature menu open here, and I'm looking for a fast way I can get back to the tile sections. I want these wall sections over here. So you press C, it gives you your eyedropper. Your build menu open, and that takes you straight back and flashes and tells you that's the piece that you just clicked on a moment ago. Okay, so I like those tiles, they'll go nicely right there. Turn it. I like the little lip on the edge, works for me. Okay. So what I'm going to put in there, what do we got there? It's a shambling mound. That's a shambler. Okay. And let's give him some company. Sorry, area there. Throw down some piles of rocks. Middle mouse is always a good thing. Offset it a little bit. Okay. Rubble there. Now you got a bit of difficult ground to make that encounter a little bit interesting. Let's drop means to get in and out of the pit. Okay, and so you're starting to see an encounter forming up here. A large pit, mounds of garbage, and the party free to come down here and have a bit of an investigation, a bit of a nosy around. Might even, just to help hide it a little bit more, I'm going to put a tree in the corner here, and that's going to be my shambling mound. It's now going to be hidden. Go to my GM tools. I can see that the mound is over there. It's a strange, rocky, mouldy form that the party can come along and investigate. Lines around the place. And control key will help. Alt, adjust your angle. And you're away. So dressing up a room can be done fairly quickly. It can also take many, many hours, how I generally build. But if I'm building something rapidly for the purposes of, say, putting together a narrative and running an encounter, I want to make it as quick as I can. So, yeah, we've seen here in 12 minutes I've got my first room built, and I've got a dungeon prepared, ready to go. So now all I need to do is populate this out with my encounter set. I've already got 4 or 5 rooms in mind, and yeah, just drop the pieces in that I need to make that encounter. So that's that. I hope you enjoy. See you on Talespire.